Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is video number 2 on my 2024 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD with the 6.6 gas engine. This video I'm going to talk about the few things that I've added to the truck since I purchased it, but most of the video is going to be about kind of likes, dislikes, and comparison with some of the similar features that were on my Ford truck. Now the Ford was a half-ton, so clearly I'm not going to compare ride quality, but I can compare things like under-seat storage, seat comfort, center console, infotainment system, adaptive cruise control, steering wheel, etc. And I'm going to try and go over all those and try and keep this as short as possible. So, additions to the truck, not many, just 2 so far. I've got a tonneau cover, which is the BAK Revolver X4S. There are a lot of videos online on YouTube about this tonneau cover, so I won't go into it in much detail other than to say I went with a tonneau cover versus a canopy this time. All my previous trucks I've always put a canopy because I like the extra covered space. But I have an ATV and I take a lot of quick camping trips in the summer and fall, and I don't want to load the ATV up in one of my trailers over there. I'd rather just put it in the bed of the truck, stuff some camping gear around it and in the back seat, and take off. So I'm going to give that a try. If I don't like it or it doesn't work well for me, I'll likely get a canopy for the truck. Next, I got some all-weather floor mats in the front and the back. Now the front I bought from Chevy. There's E71 all-weather floor mats. When you buy a vehicle, you probably know you get a bunch of points from the manufacturer that you can use towards accessories, and that's what I did. I think the 2 front mats here cost me like $50 total. Now it's kind of ironic that they don't fit that well, and they come from Chevy. It's a little frustrating, but they'll be fine. I mean, they work well. It's just they're not as form-fitting as I am accustomed to with WeatherTech or Husky. But again, for the price, I'm pretty happy, and I like the look of the Z71 there. All right, in the back, I actually did go with Husky because I found a discount online, so I chose them over WeatherTech. I had WeatherTech in my Ford, and they were fine. I've had Husky previously, and they've always been fine too, so I don't think you can go wrong with either one. But look how much better they fit on the corners, here and then over here. Just do a much better job as far as making them form-fitting. So yeah, those will last me a long time. I'm very happy with them. So that's all I've added to the truck. I am going to be adding one more thing, and that's new tires. These tires are fine on the pavement, and they may be fine. I'm sure they're fine for gravel roads and whatnot, but I drive a lot of roads with potholes, large rocks, cobble, sharp rocks, and I just don't want to risk flats. They don't have much sidewall there, aggressive sidewall. So I think I'm going to upgrade to like some KO3s or some Falcon Wild Peaks before hunting season. I'm not going to go a mud terrain. I've always gone all terrain, but I just want a little more of an aggressive all terrain than these. All right, let's get on to some comparisons, and let's start with under-seat storage. Now the Ford system I had, it was that fold flat system. I really liked it. The Chevy here is not a fold flat. You can't move it. It's there. It is what it is, and it does not provide as much space as the Ford system does. So I liked the Ford system better. I was barely able to fit everything in here. Now I do have quite a bit, but I did fit everything, and the seat closes fine. But again, I would give the nod to Ford on this one. I think Chevy can definitely improve this design, and hopefully they will in the future. All right, next, we're going to talk about seats. The comments on seats are very entertaining. People are very brand loyal. I'm not brand loyal. In fact, I think I'll take just a minute here and go over my truck history, so you kind of get an idea of the types of trucks I've bought and my experiences with them. So pre-2004, I'm not sure when I bought it, I had a Chevy 3-door half-ton. They were just starting to come out with the crew cabs, and I got a heck of a deal on a 3-door, and it was just my wife and I, and so I bought one, and it was great. Had the 5.3, but then we started having kids and decided we did need the crew cab. So in 2004, we bought a Ford F-250 with that 6.0 diesel. Oh my gosh, worst truck I've ever owned in my life. I couldn't keep it out of the shop. That engine was horrific. It would stall on you, power down, and never come back up. So I eventually traded it in. I know another buddy that had one, and he was able to lemon law his. But I traded mine in and bought a 2006 Toyota Tundra crew cab. Great truck. Never had a problem with it. I kept it 8 years. And then in 2014, we bought a Ram 2500 crew cab with the Cummins engine. We did that because we were planning on getting a travel trailer, and we did get a travel trailer. That was a good truck. When I first bought it, I noticed that the radio was delaying and coming on. So much so that you could clearly tell something was wrong. They replaced the radio head in that truck like 3 times before they figured out that one of the batteries from the manufacturer, from the plant, was defective. Once they replaced the defective battery, it worked like a charm. Never had a problem again. I also had a small leak where the car stop lamp is in the back of the rear window. They fixed that right away. And then after that, I did have a bunch of warranty recalls. Of course, those are fixed for free. And I had some minor issues with the truck, but overall, it was a good truck. I also kept it 8 years. Had 117,000 on when I sold it. I sold it during COVID and did really well on that sale, thanks to COVID. And I bought the 2022 Ford Trimmer half-ton. I love a half-ton. I love the mobility, the comfort. But you know the story there. Decided we needed to go back to a larger truck for the payload and overall capability. So that's my experience with trucks. And now I'm going to jump in and go over seats here. So I'm going to hop on in and close the door here. So these seats, they are definitely firmer than what Ford offers. You know, the seats in my Trimmer were very soft, plush, comfortable. Now these seats are firmer. They're more supportive. They are definitely not uncomfortable. In fact, I find them comfortable. I like the extra support. I've taken one drive where I drove 5.5 to 6 hours up camping, and then drove 5.5, 6 hours back. And yeah, by the end of that, I was like, yeah, I got to get out, stretch my legs, stretch my back. But you know, it was no different in the Ford. I would drive 12, 14 hours to go out of state hunting. You know, 5.5, 6 hours in, you know, I need a break. You know, I need a coffee, I need some food, or I need to get gas. But really, I need to get out and stretch my legs, stretch my back. So really, I don't have an issue with these seats. I find them comfortable. I'm really hoping the extra, you know, the firmness that they have will lead to better durability as time goes on. I can say that my wife likes these seats much better than the Ford for some reason. And, you know, that's a big checkbox in the positive for me. So anyway, I don't have any problems with them. Okay, I'm going to go on to steering wheel. Steering wheel's kind of like the seats. It's much firmer than the steering wheel in the Ford. It's not as large in diameter. The Ford was a little thicker, softer. So it took a little bit. Let me shrink this down if I can. So it took a little bit for me to get used to it. But I'm used to it now. I've been driving the truck a couple months, and I like it. Doesn't bother me at all. You know, it's like anything. Once you get used to something, it's just, you know, it's fine. Let's see. I want to talk about this is a very minor thing, kind of a ticky-tacky thing, but the windshield wiper adjuster here, I'm used to them being a lot bigger in vehicles that I've driven, to where and this is pretty small, so I've had a little trouble with muscle memory so far finding the dang thing, but that'll come with time. I do really like that they put the auto headlight on off here at the end. When the Ford and my wife's SUV had to kind of toggle this thing and figure out which way to go, and I'd get a little confused. But this, I really like the fact that they just have this button for when you want to turn it on and turn it off. I also really like the controls on the steering wheel. I like these little toggle like switches here. There are discs that you can roll to move through the menus on your center display. I like the fact that my heated steering wheel button's right here, my adaptive cruise control. So yeah, I don't have any issues there. All right, let's get into the center console. So you can see here, you have this tray, moves just a little bit, and then your main compartment is down below. Now on the Ford, the tray was turned and it was the other direction, and you could slide it back and forth and then get into your main compartment without removing the tray. Not here. No, if you want to get in your main compartment, you've got to remove the tray. That's a minor thing, but I shouldn't have to remove the tray, in my opinion, to get into my main compartment. To me, this is a design flaw that should be corrected in the future. Switch it to the other way, or go to something like Ram, where they have where you open it up, one lid, and you got a storage area, then you got another lever down here, and you open up and you get into your main storage compartment. At least that's the way it was when I had my Ram. But again, a minor thing, but still, I think they could have done better. I will say that I really like this wireless cell phone charging spot here. It's a great place when you're driving just to set your phone in there, and the wireless charging works really well. Now if you have your case on, I've had a couple different cases on this phone. Now this one has the magnet on the back, so really the connection is intermittent with the wireless charger. My other case didn't have the magnet, and it worked really well, and it works extremely well if you don't have a case on your phone, and it charges pretty quick. I'm actually impressed. The wireless connection with the infotainment system, and I'll get into the infotainment system here in a bit, but I will say that the wireless connection with it is excellent in this vehicle. It connects every time. I've not had an issue, whereas in the Ford, it would connect about 85% of the time. That other 15 or so percent, I would either have to connect with a USB cord, so it would connect, and then I could unplug that and the wireless connection would remain, or I would have to shut the vehicle down and restart it, and then it would connect. So that was a little bit frustrating there, but this one, it connects every time quickly, and so I'm really happy with that. I like the extra space right here. I like having the shifter up on the steering column. Now the shifter in my Ford was a console shifter, but of course it was a 1/2 ton, so that's pretty common there. I think a lot of your 3/4 tons have it up here, other than maybe Ram, which has that dial. So yeah, I like the shifter up on the steering column. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and get into the infotainment system now. So I'm going to start this up. And I will say that just from an aesthetic point of view, this is my favorite infotainment system. I think it blends really well with the dash. Oops, let me turn that down. A little better than the Ford, in my opinion. I liked the Ford, the look of it. It was more square. This is more rectangular. But I would give the edge to this one. I just think it really flows well seamlessly with the dash. It's very responsive, very fast, and the image quality is excellent. But there are a few quirks. One, when you buy the truck, you get a 30-day free trial of the built-in Android or Google-based Android system. And it comes with that OnStar 30-day free trial. If you want to continue past that 30 days, you have to pay a monthly subscription fee for OnStar and for the in-vehicle Google system, the navigation system, or the text messaging and all of that. To me, that's ridiculous. That's a huge fail, in my opinion, on GM's part. Now, granted, everyone likely has Apple CarPlay or Android Auto that they can fall back to, and I'm sure they're using the subscription service to probably support OnStar. But to me, I don't care about OnStar. I would rather have the option to use the in-vehicle navigation system and include it in the vehicle with the price that I paid for the truck. The truck's not cheap. So I'm disappointed in GM's direction there. I think they can do better. And there are a couple of quirks that come with, once that trial period ends, and I didn't renew. I didn't want to pay the subscription, so I'm using Android Auto through my cell phone. But they make it so that once your trial period's over, Hey Google doesn't work anymore. It won't work with your phone's Android Auto through when connected with the system here. You have to either push this button right here to activate Hey Google, or you have to be in Android Auto and you can select this button or that little microphone right there, and then it'll come on and you can give it verbal directions or whatever you want to do. So that's one kind of quirk that I'm not a fan of. Another one is if you don't go into settings and apps, this is once your trial period ends, and then also go into show all apps, and then you'll see here there's a bunch of Google apps. You need to disable many of those because they're all related to the in-vehicle system, which you don't have a subscription for anymore. So if you don't disable them, you're going to continue to get you'll actually continue to get notifications up here where this little bell is on the in-car system. And then when you select the notification, like it's a text, let's say it's a text message, and then it will tell you, hey, yeah, we'd love to let you read that, but you need to pay us a monthly subscription fee. So I disabled many of those apps, so now I just get my Android Auto notifications right here below that 5G. And it works fine in Android Auto through my cell phone. I'm happy with it. I just think the direction that they've taken on the in-car system, which frankly is a really good system. I mean, it's basically Android Auto through your Chevy. I did find it a little slower than Android Auto through my cell phone, but still it was very functional, very capable, and definitely a system I would have considered using as a standalone. Okay, one other thing here with the infotainment system. So right now I'm in YouTube Music. You can hear the radio. Now, let's say I want to go now to XM radio. So I tap music there, and then I go up here and I tap XM. And look, I have no volume. No volume. Volume's up, no volume. If I want to have volume, I need to select a different channel. Now I've got volume. And then I can go back to the channel I was on, and I have volume. So a bit of a bug there. Hopefully they get that fixed as time goes on. I mean, it's a very minor inconvenience, but it shouldn't be there. Other than that, like I said, I do really like the system. I like the look. There's just a few little things that I think can be improved. All right, let's see. Lastly, I believe I wanted to go over adaptive cruise control. I love adaptive cruise control. I used it quite a bit in the Ford on long trips. I've used it a couple times here. And I would say that the Ford system was a bit smoother when it came to the braking and the acceleration. But that may be due to the fact that this is a much, much heavier truck. It's not something where like, oh, I don't want to use adaptive cruise control. I mean, it's fine. It works really well. It's just when I'm comparing the two, I would say that the Ford system was a bit smoother. Also, I noticed once when I was going around a corner, there were the interstate, two lanes, two like eastbound lanes, 2 westbound lanes. I think I was going eastbound. I'm on a corner, and the system picked up probably a vehicle in the other lane, and it slowed me down a tad. Now the Ford, as far as I can remember, never did that. You know, it was very good about just detecting things in my lane. And maybe that was a one-off. It only happened one little time, and it wasn't a big deal, but just something I'm gonna kind of keep an eye out on. All right, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. Try and do these in one take. I'm not an expert here. I just kind of do these to share a little information. If you have any questions that you'd like answered or things you want looked at, let me know. My next video, my wife and I are taking a road trip here soon. We're going to go up and tour Vancouver Island for about a week, sometime here in the near future, and I'll do a fuel mileage run. Most of that, it'll be a few hundred miles on the interstate, but most of that's going to be probably rural highway, so kind of see what kind of fuel mileage I get, and I'll do a video on that. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I'll catch up to you next time. Take care.